Joining us today, Dr. Prerna Kohli. She's India's leading clinical psychologist. She's been practicing for over 25 years. She's been awarded by the President of India for her work in mental health. She is a scholar, a researcher, a social worker, amongst all the other facets of her work and personality that she's here to share with us today on the show. Dr. Prerna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Your journey began actually in Aligarh. So I want to rewind a little bit because for someone, and you've mentioned this to me before, that someone coming from your family background, it was very unusual for a girl to want to take that path or career, especially, into the world of psychology.
So yes, I had gone to Wellams for my schooling, and I was 10 years old because Aligarh in the 60s and 70s is a not developed city. Now it is a smart city,
Right.
all right?
Yes.
And so I was sent to boarding school for better opportunities of education. And when I was 16, that was 10th, and we just started to come with 10 plus 2. And there was this course in Aligarh Muslim University, a pre-university course. So I could skip the 10 plus 2. You know, when you're young, you really want to grow up fast.
Yes.
So I wanted to skip that also and just grow up and finish my schooling. So I had come back home and I was ready to leave for school the next day. And the morning I decided I won't go. So I stayed back, and I always, maybe if I look back into my childhood, I was pretty observant as a child, despite I was an extrovert. So frankly, it was not human psychology. I was looking for someone to teach me animal psychology. Yes, yes. And I wanted to know why we had a lot of dogs at home, why the dog is sad, or what is, the cat trying to express. And, the eyes are very expressive of the animals, and yet they can't speak. So I used to wonder what's running in their mind. So when I went for my admission for psychology to start off with, I said I want to take up animal psychology. They said they don't have animal psychology. When I came back home and told my father that I wanted to take up psychology, frankly, he was very disappointed. He felt that who does psychology? I mean, there was this Aligarh Muslim University offering it that time, and there was another university, one more, I can't recall, in India, who was offering. You didn't have any departments, right? And he said, why don't you sit for civil services? Why don't you sit for, other, fields where you would get more opportunities to express your talent because you are so bright. And they were pretty disappointed. And animal psychology. So my father didn't sleep the whole night because my father was really into education.
Right.
He was like anything for education.
Yeah. And here he has a smart young daughter who's very promising.
And who is the youngest in the family. This blue-eyed girl.
He was happy with the idea of you working, just not psychology.
Happy with the idea of taking education.
Education, got it.
For example, he didn't let me go for my higher studies overseas because we did come from a conservative background, staying in a small town. There were early days. I wanted to go for my higher education after my graduation, but he was very skeptical about my safety more than anything else.
Sure. Yeah.
And because we all were in such a protective homes, we hardly really did anything on our own. We had somebody always escorting us or guiding us or helping us through. So yes, I took up psychology against all odds. And I lost a lot of my friends also because they did sit in the orientation of the studies. I had many girls from Aligarh who I knew. They said, it's very weird, we're not understanding this subject. And if you really sit in the first class, the elementary class of psychology, you really think you have all the symptoms of not being normal. Yeah. So I took it against all odds because I wanted to take up animal psychology, but I went into this psychology, and I'm so glad I did it.
You've impacted so many lives. So many lives. I think you last said 25,000 plus people who've consulted with you, who you've nurtured through their journeys and through their problems, and who continue to reach out to you time and again.
Yes. I think Aabha, more than anybody else, I think I've impacted my journey. I've become a better person. I don't just look at any situation or any challenge or any message or any kind of action, behavior towards me, just as seeing it from just their point of view. I really want to really get into the shoes to know what brought that about. Why did I trigger it? No matter what, they may be having a bad day, but how did I not calm it? How did I not have that energy where you could feel comfortable? So it's been a very inward journey. It's been a very spiritual journey trying to understand behavior, all right? And it's not been easy because as soon as I finished even my PhD, there were really no internships. Yeah, there was no way to really do it practically. So
was that because there were very few people practicing at the time?
Very few people practicing, and it was just an upcoming subject. I was told that, listen, what do you really want to do? And I said, I want to have my clinic. They said, who is going to come? It was unheard of. Either by default, I should have been a professor in a university or joined a hospital or a center, which was looking into the mental health. But I think I was one of the first ones, because you start just on your own in the four walls. And honestly, when I came to Delhi, I really did not know anybody. But because of the virtue of my work and my commitment, having said that, this is not work. I'm very fortunate. This is my passion. This is my calling. I just love what I do. I'm just blessed to have got my calling this lifetime.
Well, I want to establish, because I mean it was written somewhere online, so I don't know the credibility, but Dr. Prerna has generated a lot of wealth, prosperity, success for herself, and I say that to give you your due as someone who has built herself and her career over time, and you also are very, very passionate about giving back, and I know that that's true to you as well. Like, this profession is something that really is your calling. So mental health was taboo at the time, clearly. I mean, was it? I mean, it still is, but there are still many more people talking about it, bringing it to the to the forefront, dealing with it. You said you started in those four walls. How difficult was it to get people into the door?
It was very, very difficult. One, people did not want to acknowledge it, because all of us have lived in denial. Also, we have gone more towards astronomy or astrology, or towards temples to deal with our mental emotional health, because that's what we have also learned, not really having knowledge. I think, very frankly, is because now we started talking about it. I'll give you an example. Obesity, diabetes, cancer, till just the other way was a taboo. Since we started talking about it, we started normalizing. COVID the first time was a taboo. Even if you got it, you were never going to tell anybody. It was such a stigma that how did you get COVID? But when you start talking, you start gaining knowledge about it, you start getting the information, then I think everybody does come around. Those four walls were very difficult. I think I spent a lot of time in actually researching. I also went around doing a lot of honorary work, also to validate whether I was making any difference. So I worked with schools, I worked with universities. I went on to become a corporate psychologist for 17 years to see whether I could make a difference in corporate, and also by default learn. So whether I was visiting Tihar jail as an individual social responsibility, I wanted to know whether my intervention was making an impact. It was only that. And I think I've never tried to give gyan when I sit in a group. I always say that if I'm not able to come, I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling low. So people started relating, all right? Or I'm getting a little nervous, I have a presentation to give, I'm having anxiety. So these were new words. And I think you start with one person, second person. But frankly, COVID gave it a lot of respectability because it was right there on your faces. So many people didn't even know that I was practicing for so many years, because they did not understand what I did.
Right. Yeah.
So lack of knowledge, and I was not going to push it. Yeah. But yeah.
That's what I wanted to actually talk about was your experience in the corporate world. Here at Ladies Who Lead, we're always diving into some of the issues that come up for women at work.
Yeah.
And till date, even though we're supposed to be progressing, we are actually seeing it harder for women to stay in the workplace. The stats are showing us that.
Yeah.
Why is that? And what is the biggest factor preventing women from being able to stay in the workplace and actually grow, reach higher positions?
I personally think that it is a lifelong commitment to yourself, of your own principles. I'll tell you something so strange. So I was a consultant, rather an advisor to this place, wellness, where I used to go twice or thrice a week because I was the advisor. So on the main road is my house, and those days, because I disengaged almost 7 years back because there was so much work happening. I loved doing what I did there. So I would leave my house at 9 a.m. and reach at 9 a.m. because it was behind my house. I don't know what it sounds, all right, but I was very hardcore professional, which helped me a lot, Aabha. I was there to work first and then get into anything else. So there was no distractions of anything called personal distractions of what has happened in your home, what has not happened. There was a time and place for that. I think we get too much. We are really not committed to where we are going to start off with. Whether I am the boss or I'm on the other side of the desk. That's what I feel. I was very professional, so nobody had ever come to my house. I said the day I quit, you all come to my house because I will start getting prejudiced. Having said that, I went on off-sites, I went for movies, but I did maintain that professionalism. And I used to have so many presentations. I was a corporate trainer also on work ethics. That listen, if you're expecting something from the company, are you really putting your 100%? Are you the jewel in the crown? And more than anything else, I think what worked for me and will work for everybody else is the ownership feeling. You must not think that I've gone there, I have to do X, Y, Z, and I have to get my check. For example, I'll give you, I was a corporate psychologist. I did that, but I did something very fantastic. I would go and sit in the HR department to know how HR works. I got down to doing HR initiatives. I would sit with a PR person. I can do PR today. I can write a press release. I can do event management. I used to go to every department to also offer help. It's very important, Aabha, to step out of your key responsibility areas to make it a team. By and large, we all are wanting to be together. We are coming from a tribe. So when you come to work, there are a lot of emotions also involved, all right? The other thing I learned very clearly that don't take anything personally. If even it was my colleague on my right or my boss the other side said something to me, I will hold prejudice. I will have a stereotype. I will push back. I will withdraw. That was not you. That was the situation. That was the issue. It could have been not Prerna, could have been a Usha, could have been anybody else. Focusing and not taking personal and not feeling depressed and unhappy. And I think also taking people together, all right? The insecurity comes when you don't know what the other person is doing. And insecurity comes when you go back home and talk too much about your workplace, because then everybody becomes your daddy at home. Everybody becomes your mama at home. I enjoyed my 17 years. As much I have enjoyed these so many years in my workplaces, I switch on and switch off. I know when to switch on and switch off. I think women are also having a tough time because it is so much I, me, myself. What can I gain? You know, Aabha, if I hugged you, I would immediately know, am I giving a hug or am I taking a hug? Am I a giver? Am I a taker?
Really?
Yeah. It's as basic. So someone hugs you next time, you will get the feel. Is he or she taking the hug or give? It's so fundamental. So I think when you go with the perspective to a workplace or any community, that you're not here to take, you're here to give back to. Yes, to contribute, to participate. See, it is as basic if you go in a wedding and you just sit there looking pretty and saying, oh goodness, look at the lights, yeah, what is the bride wearing? Or maybe the food is not good. If you get up and participate and say, can I help you? Or maybe dance around, play the dholak or help with the plates or go back in the kitchen, you just enjoy it. Life is about participating as much as work is about participating.
So, Dr. Prerna, you have so many patients or clients. Some of them must be of all ages, still relatively new in the workplace. Do they understand this philosophy? Because I feel the world of work has changed a lot, especially post-COVID. And like you said, the language has changed in terms of the entitlement or the questions in terms of who's really responsible for creating an amenable atmosphere for work, and especially for women. There's another side to it too, and we'll come to the men in a minute. But a lot of these questions are raging around at the moment. And I don't think that is going to get any lesser over the next couple of years.
I think everybody deep down is here to love and be loved. Everybody wants harmony. We are just getting into that rut. We're just wearing those masks to become part of it. I think each one of us, I have people coming, and I think there is still so much of compassion and kindness and teamwork. It is just that because of our own sense of security, because we are still at that stage where we can go to the primitive world where we wanted to look after ourselves, that we don't get affected by, say, animal doesn't kill us, the evolutionary time, the primitive times, or the weather is such, we start looking at ourselves or just people around us. But I think when people go there, if each one of us carry that light of live and let live.
Sure.
Yeah. I have youngsters only coming and feeling not validated. I have a lot of youngsters and coming and feeling that, is the person who's more probably extrovert. I don't think so. I never got into the hubs and the bubs. The management, no matter what, is here to see you work. They know who is the star. It may require a lot of patience. What we are lacking is instant gratification. If you go, and I think, frankly, it is also management's responsibility, because anybody who is new, who steps in, comes with so much of motivation and dreams in their eyes, then how come it just reduces? It's also, I think, management's responsibility to see that the motivation remains there, because you can't motivate anybody. You can sustain the motivation.
So corporates today are, of course, they're finding policies and ways to deal with millennials, but they're also trying to find inclusive policies. When it comes to gender specifically, while women, of course, are assumed to want more accommodative policies, should corporates rather be looking at a more gender-neutral lens? Some of them have started with things like paternal leave, for instance. But, how much of that is actually filtering through and creating an impact on the psyche of equal opportunity? How many women are taking those advances when they happen at the workplace and progressing in their ambition? Or how many are still held back because we're not seeing enough of it in enough companies?
I agree with you. I think it is just very little where we are looking at. We are talking more, the less of action.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
Say for as basic as POSH committee really came into its function when the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare started looking into it and started making a sort of a law for every corporate. Otherwise, it is there in paper for the longest time. It's how much of a corporate is conscientious about, as I said, humanity and understanding that we are looking for gender sensitivity. We are also looking, as you rightly said, the mental health. We are looking at inclusivity. I think at the end, the corporate should focus on whether they are getting their work done. All right.
Because men are facing burnout too.
Absolutely.
The burnout is happening across the table.
100%.
Yeah.
Rather, it's very interesting. When I started work, there used to be like 8 out of 10 women coming to me because of deep conditioning. They are more sensitive, putting themselves, right at the end for everything, sacrificing and, letting it go. But eventually, I'm finding women are wearing more pants. I'm having 9 out of 10 men coming to me and sobbing.
So why are they sobbing? What's happening in their lives?
So what's happening is that tables are turning. They are. At least, maybe not my generation, but most of your generation is working. It's like understood, you'll do something. If not outside from home, it's filtering. Yeah. Our generation, it used to be that sometimes I used to wonder when my kids would come back and My daughter would say, Mama, when I grow up, I'll become a homemaker. So I used to question her that, listen, do you want me to quit? She says, no, but I would want you to be home for lunch, which I started taking some lunch breaks without feeling guilty and telling her today she is the proudest. She writes blogs on how my mother should not take off from clinic just because I'm visiting her from US. So that's something separate. But I think when men are equally vulnerable, they're equally sensitive, in the garb of, oh, they are men, they should feel differently and think differently. I don't think so. Because we have also come and taken their spots, right? And
woman power.
Yeah, more power, which is fantastic. But I think everything should be on merit, right?
Sure. I agree.
And men and women together can be a great team. Why do we keep looking at their rights? And I think we can come together as a team. Even though, you know, we see women are really not out there. They quit their jobs many times after marriage.
And even in the 30s and 40s, why does it get harder? I mean, childbirth is one, but does it still get harder in sort of your mid-career, just before that last promotion?
Yeah. You know, sometimes we become very self-sabotaging. If you're doing very, very well, we are still with the rest of the environment. Did I do enough for my child? Did I do enough for my in-laws, my parents? Was I there? Is it all worth it? It just depends on what your purpose was. And whether it's dads have never felt guilty. Why should moms feel guilty? As long as we are able to balance. And I'll tell you something, when I was a consultant in one of the schools as a counselor, you know, DPS Arkipuram with Dr. Chona was really progressive, wanted a counselor there. And those, I mean, it was like almost 30 years back, very progressive. And people used to say, okay, I'm non-working, so I'm giving quantity of time to my child. And there were women who were saying, we are working, we are giving quality of time. We give it all on Saturday, Sunday. And I'll tell you, Aabha, neither quantity nor quality works. Because quantity, you can't be hovering around your child. You still have those issues with the children, whether it's anxiety or depression or whatever issues. And even with quality, that quality is to your convenience. That Saturday, Sunday works for me, maybe for the child it doesn't work. So what really works, men and women must understand, because it's all about parenting times also in the 30s and all, the kids are growing up and you are a young mother, is that are you there when the child needs you? So I remember sitting with all my comfort that today is the day, I'm watching the theatre, I sit down and I get a call from my son's school that Veer has been very naughty, please can you come tomorrow? I said, no, I'll come right now. Okay. And that was a support. Or if I sat for a movie, I could, you know, and if someone says that, listen, there's an issue, we needed to find out about it and you can come to me. I said, no, I'll come now. For me, that was the priority. And I think my children have always felt that's what they tell me. Now you only come to know how you've been as a mother once you grow up and your children gets you, whether you were good or you were bad or you were lousy or whatever. I mean, even till daytime, I read every day, conscious parenting. All you need to be mindful as a mother. All you need to be conscious when the kids need you. So that guilt part sometimes really takes over. And also, if your only purpose has been that I'm there just to earn the money and the circumstances were not there, then probably then if you've earned that bit and maybe that was your purpose, then so it be, then it's okay. See, there's no judgment. But I feel if you all are working, we all are contributing, we're getting empowered, we're taking more people together, we are working in different dimensions. It only gives us growth. And the only quality of life we are working is growth. Our growth and everybody else's growth.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. In fact, I have an interesting stat that I looked up. You know, on some of these characteristics or some of the wiring in our brain and how it's not actually biologically different for men and women. There's some reports done. So the attributes of being sexual, career-oriented, dominant, assertive, competitive, so on and so forth, versus a beta personality of being good listeners, passive, nurturing, caring, and so forth. Today, when they're applied in experiments or research on batches of men and women, like you just said, the results are actually shockingly different.
Yes.
Women are the ones scoring on the alpha test.
Said we are wearing the pants are really wearing well.
So it goes to show that a lot of these stereotypes or conditioning have
Yes.
been what has shaped behavior
Absolutely.
and not really biology.
Not biology, because each one of us has the feminine and the masculine energy. We are what we are. We know our sexual orientation, but we have both the energies. And you see the Shiva Shakti is the first example. So the emotions, the feelings, the pain, the hurt is not different. It's just that we have trained men not to cry or to be a man, or for a woman to express, because she's always seen her mother crying probably, or expressing in a certain way. But there's no difference at all. And by and large, people used to say, okay, I've come to you because you are a woman psychologist, you will understand better. Or a man says, maybe you will, you might not take my side because you're a woman. I tell them that, listen, dude, I'm a psychologist. I'm neither female or male. I'm just a regular psychologist. Like, one could be an engineer or one could be a pilot. So I think that centering has happened in a big way for all of us. And as I said, the corporate or anybody else should look at people through the lens of humanity, to see everybody's potential, to give everybody encouragement. Having said that, we need to really encourage women a lot, because they have been left behind. I can't take that away.
Yeah.
They've been
Absolutely.
left behind.
Yeah.
They've been in the closed doors. They've been too much do and don'ts, especially when I look at the rural area. So
There's a long way to go. That's
go.
very
I
clear.
can't take
Yeah.
that away, because if you just talk about a segment of society, then
Yeah.
what I'm saying is very relevant. But otherwise, we still need to, pick each other up. It's like a Macintosh. If you think you're going to lift and become the queen, no. Everybody needs to lift up, and it has to be the teamwork, and we've got the trophy together. It has to be, because see, Aabha, if you go to any festivals, or there are any weddings, you see, take women for example, all of them look beautiful and they come together, we are participating. That's how it should be. Even work should be that celebration. It should not be I and me then. We have a goal. We have a goal probably at festivals to enjoy it in a certain way, or maybe wedding to bless and participate. Workplace should be like that. Because I am also finding at workplace, sadly, is that a woman is actually pulling another woman.
Yes. So that's their biggest complaint, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Because that still continues to be, are we wired a certain way? Is there a reason for that? Or is it because women feel they have to struggle harder? Or they're territorial? Is there a scientific explanation for this?
I think, yes, territorial, of course. But having said that, I think the concept of sharing is not there, and it has to start from the family.
So it's more societal change.
Societal change has to come. It's like I, me, myself, and let me just gather for my family. It has to be the larger family. You started living in those units.
And is there a reason why women should work together more than men? Because, is it because it's tougher for us? Because does the same apply
no, it's
to
not
them?
that. I think women have some spectacular, strengths. We can multitask in numerous ways. And there's so much potential. We are gushing with energy and potential. And when women come together, they can be magical. They can be spectacular. And that's why I say that if you see, if women are running marathons together, really together, or doing any teamwork, or, they're actually river rafting together, see the strength. You will not even have one guy on that raft. Even the physical strength comes because it's so much about your mental strength.
Sure.
Mind over body.
Yeah.
And I think we should leave behind the deep conditioning, stop getting seduced by the different generational beliefs, and not dance in others' illusions, but see reality. Because it's in giving you receive. If you share something with somebody, or not earn the brownie point which somebody else deserved, right? It is not only karmic, as a person in India who talks about it, is cause and effect. It is the law of universe. It's in giving you will receive. So I think the women must come together, and you'll be so surprised, because most of the time when I see any community work done, any event happening, there are men sponsoring it. Why aren't women sponsoring? Why aren't women coming forward for other women? Why aren't they becoming their cheerleaders? Because I was sharing with you earlier, I go to this hotel in the morning where I have my cup of coffee, and this GM is a woman, and I'm so thrilled to see the way she walks in and she's doing her work. And I said, wow, and I could not be a Jim, but she's an extension of me. I cannot be an Aabha, but Aabha is an extension of me. Why can't we see that? And if we see that, everybody else will think like that about us.
Build a powerful network of influence.
And there's a space
yes.
for everybody. It's like an ocean.
Yes.
There's space for everybody. I have never been insecure. I mean, I have a team of over 100 psychologists on board, and they're brilliant. Aabha. They are brilliant, new age. I'm willing to be a student. I'm willing to learn, because smart people ask for help. They're telling me every day some new things,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So I think we need to be secured in our own skin by the way that what you know, the other person doesn't know. We can learn from each other. And by learning, knowledge is power.
Yes.
By learning and coming together, because see, even men will make fun of us, because they know if there are 10 women together, they probably will get into fighting with each other or gossiping about each other. That's not a good thing to think about. That's a sad place to be, you know. But I think even if one person starts in the second, and I'm seeing women doing that.
Yes.
I see you doing that.
Yes.
Getting the community.
We
So
firmly believe in
congratulations
that.
to you to be so confident, to be being with different women, you know. Like I was telling you that, Aabha, I haven't asked you anything what you're going to be doing with me today. And I don't know how much you know about the mental health. It's only fair, but you know, you must have done your study, you must have researched. So how wonderful is that, you know? So I think women like you are setting an example. They are the real Prernas. They are the real inspirations of paving the way and telling everybody, come on, let's get together. Let's go ahead. We can all do it. Let's all have fun. Let's love and be loved.
Exactly. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. And you're right. Let's have fun, because, you know, it's really not about being the victim. We have all the opportunities for us today. Things couldn't be better in terms of how the world is progressing. This is an unedited, unfiltered interview here on Ladies Who Lead. Our guest today, Dr. Prerna Kohli. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed myself. Because life is not a war, it's a game.
It's a game. I love it. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being.